I have found, oddly, there was a video that I watched part of because I am looking for answers and less philosophy. But the premise of the video was to tell me that if you're falling asleep at work, that you're not engaging your mind enough, that you don't feel as though you're learning. So when you become too familiar with something, your brain decides to shut itself off. It's a defensive mechanism. I don't know if I agree with all of those things, or necessarily the premise in of itself, but I have found that for some reason certain activities do seem to keep the attention. Now, some of these activities that keep you awake are obviously things that are distressing. That's a defense mechanism as well. It's a survival tool, really. You want to make sure you get out of that situation. You want to make sure that this situation does not harm you in any way. But things that are extremely logical, it's very logical to want money. It's very logical to want to make money and be financially secure. But for some reason, there are numerous topics that I just can't pay attention to. And there are things that I am intelligent enough to do. Although that might be more a defense mechanism itself. There isn't just a matter of being intelligent enough to do something. Many people put the wrong objectives. Well, they say the objective is the same, but the method in which they try to accomplish it is absolutely wrong. People are convinced of the method beforehand without any practice. You can get any kind of result if you grind anything hard enough. I could go through a brick wall eventually if I rubbed on it hard enough with my hand. I would tear the skin off, I would shave down the bone to filings, but eventually I would get through a brick wall. But this seems to be the method that is used by far too many companies. What you are taught in school, it's like, you need to learn this. It's like, okay, tell me how to learn this. It's like, no, just do it this way. Why does it work this way? I do not understand. There are no good teachers. There are no good instructors. And money seems to be only self-serving. These companies know of no other way to do anything, so they are stuck in their ways, and innovation in many ways is dead. There are, of course, exceptions. I'm not saying that, well, not everything is completely broken, but when something is broken, obviously there are pieces that are not broken. And this is not even talking about an idealistic community or the idealistic state of Earth or whatever you want to call it. This is about not even reaching what I consider to be the bare minimum of understanding just among people and the methods that they use. So many people, especially those who are using the methods that are inefficient but are so very prevalent today, would rather the world burn than lose out on a single cent. And perhaps that's why I'm falling asleep trying to consider these things. It's like, look at all these applications. It's like, you don't tell me anything, and there are so many things that you want me to do, and when I fail, they seem to be my fault. This has been constant throughout my life. And there's very little instruction. I understand the concept, but no one has ever said, okay, this is how you apply this knowledge. The only times I've figured out how to apply knowledge was when I did it myself. And if I could do this, why not just leave me to my own devices and forgo schooling completely? Get rid of public school. Get rid of schooling entirely. You can put the stuff out on the internet. And you can tell people the basics, and you can just say, okay, now you do this entirely yourself. You learn. But we can't do that. The reason we can't do that is because schooling is also teaching you the limitations about what you cannot do. It constantly stifles innovation. It tells you, do not do this. You are, I don't know, dangerous in some way. You're offensive. And I am not young by any stretch of the imagination. This is very, very old. This goes back to chivalry, I believe. And if you want to talk about something that's very controversial, like segregation, let's talk about it between the genders. If men need to concern themselves so much about how they might offend the opposite gender, maybe they really should be going to separate schools. You want men to be men? Well, they need to learn how to be men before they learn how to be nice. So I really have no idea why I cannot pay attention to these things. It might be a defensive mechanism. I think when I was very, very young, I would listen to anything, but in practice, I know now that when people try to teach you something, they're more trying to control you. And I've never gotten anything out of it. Just, it's an entirely useless endeavor. So if you find yourself falling asleep, maybe what people say is true. It's a defensive mechanism. I have done certain tasks repetitively. It's not repetitive. It's like I love doing repetitive tasks. I actually found it very interesting to even keep inventory of things that were around my house, to manage these things. It was very interesting. I only ever seemed to get bored when the solution wasn't something I could obtain easily or maintain easily. The purpose of organization is to simplify and increase efficiency. But if you do not obtain your goal, maybe you're supposed to give up. And nothing in life is supposed to be so difficult as to slowly kill you. I don't ever want to hear this again. You need to pay your dues. You need to work hard. It's like, no. That didn't work. You got lucky. You got out of the situation you were in, and now you're in a cozier situation, but you didn't earn anything. It doesn't work that way. You get lucky, and you get out of certain situations into something more desirable. And the fact that you're being crushed underfoot means that humanity at large does not care about you. You do not matter. And that's not me saying this. This is the world. For they will not treat you with such contempt if they did not forego all care. They don't care about you. That's why they treat you so poorly. That's why they just cast you to the side and they say, do this or don't talk to me. There is no opportunity for understanding. If you fall asleep, then stop what you're doing and wake up. Because sleep can cause physical and mental harm in very heavy doses. So stay awake, do something, anything that keeps you awake. And if you can find out how to make money by staying awake, that's what you do.